I will show you now what we're looking for. I take the Darksiders Collector's Edition from a few years ago as an example, and this already contains all base elements that we actually want to have in our Collector's Edition. When it comes to the pure size of it, in this case this is more like a cube due to the figurine inside of it, but we could actually also basically slim it down later on. This is all dependent on the figurine itself, which is also contained in the packaging, and it is mostly the item that defines the size of the whole box. So what we have here is a box that has prints on all sides, as you can see, even on the bottom, and it has a sleeve. We have the logo of the game and some prints on the sleeve itself. On the back side you can already see some screenshot as well as all of the items that are contained in the box. So here we go. So the first thing that we need here is some kind of outer sleeve. If we're going for a fixed box later on, we could also basically save the sleeve and just use the box. This is a bit dependent on what we actually want to achieve there. So we can take this to the side. So this is the box itself. As you can see, there's prints all around it, which makes it, let's say, very valuable as a collector's item because it just looks nice. And this is also, let's say, the most important thing about it. Yeah, we can open it up, and on top of it, you can see that there are several boxes inside of it. So they have here some styrofoam to stabilize everything. This is a separate box, also with prints, which contains the game, the art books, and so forth. And this is the figurine. So you can put this to the side and just take a look at the contents of the smaller box. So what we have here in the case of Darksiders is the game. This is the Switch version. And then we have an art book. In this case, the art book has a rather large dimension, but we could also go with something smaller, maybe just half the size of it. So I can show you also an example of that, how that may look. So that would be another option for an art book. So this is a smaller format, but it's looking fine. It's just around about a half. So what we have here in this case is a separate, let's say, a CD inlay which contains the soundtrack. I don't think we need this. And we have the art book itself, which will of course have a very individual layout. It is a bit dependent on actually what images we want to show and so forth. We got small extras. In the case of Darksiders we have some kind of stickers, but that could be actually be anything. Here it could be stickers, it could be some kind of smaller trinkets that are contained in the box, like this one. I got this from Gamescom from Homeseek. So that's some kind of theme with a post-apocalypse, and this is like some special kind of water or something like this. So it's just a nice item on top of it. So here we have basically the main item of the box, of course, which is the game, and it comes in a nice steel book. And yeah, okay, we already had the soundtrack. Let's see. Maybe we can even replace this later on with something like, let's say, postcards, and then they are also collected in some smaller inlet here. So when it comes to the figurine, this is a very special case that might not be necessarily be done by you, but will be done by a special vendor who usually only does figurines. So we have to see what kind of dimensions they can provide. Let's see if we can get it out here. Good. So this is basically a box within a box, and as you can see, there's also a lot of very valuable print all around it. see if there's something on the bottom. No. And when it comes to the packaging, here in this case we have this kind of outer box made out of cardboard. Then inside of it we have the figurine. It is safe in the so-called blister pack, which is of course done specifically for this figurine. Because the blister pack itself fits exactly the silhouette of the character. So here we have the character. There's also some kind of plastic in it to just stabilize it in the box. As I said, these are all very individual characteristic pieces. Okay, that was a plastic bag that was also around it. Then here we have the so-called base. So there's a bit of fun later on for the users to assemble it. In this case it is very easy. Here are some pack holes. On the base you have packs itself. These are the 4 ones here. And turns out this is quite an impressive statue. This is also due to the design of it, which is done in the art style of Joe Madureira, who also worked as the art director on this project. So let's recap what we actually have here. So we have the statue. We have some kind of inlet, maybe containing stickers or postcards. Then we have the game. In our case, of course, we don't have let's say, physical version of the game, but what we can deliver is, in that case, some kind of CD with just a download client and some additional infos, maybe a digital art book. And yeah, we have a steel case, which can also be used again for postcards or something like this. We have some stickers, yeah, and we have the art book. Where is it actually? Where did I put it? Here. So I really did like this art book because of the size of it. It is always better for the images. Because the larger, the better you can see the image itself. And then we have some kind of special box that contains all the items so that they don't fly around in the box in some case. And I also like the idea of the styrofoam that just stabilizes everything, gives us some kind of value. So what we actually need here is someone who can produce everything. I think the figurine is kind of an exception to it, but you have to be able to later on create space within the box itself that can contain the figurine. We have to figure out, okay, who can actually do this figurine and in what dimension will it be delivered. But what you have to do is basically all graphic design provided with images by us. You have to be able to create the box, even a cardboard or a very, very, let's say, thick plastic, whatever the options are there. And you have to be capable of producing some kind of smaller box that are inside, the stickers, steelbook case, an art book. And I think this is already quite challenging, dependent on what you actually do in terms of merchandise. As I said, box, art book, steel case, stickers, some kind of inlet. And we are also open to additional ideas, whatever you can provide us there. Maybe some kind of amulet or something like this, or in case, let's say, we do something with Seafight, it would be very nice to have some kind of, let's say, some kind of brooch that looks like a skull. That would be an option, or a small treasure chest. These are all options. I will also link everything that I talked about in the description as well, so that you can see basically the recap here. But this is just to give you an idea of what kind of level we want to achieve. So, when it comes to the figurine, it would be amazing if you have the capability of do something like this. What we need from you in that case is exactly what you need from us. So in this case, the question is, do you need a 3D model from our side? must everything be set up specifically to your requirements? Or do you need a constant art and can even create a character yourself? Maybe you have the capability of doing this. When we're looking at the kind of quality, I like, let's say, the usual quality that we see in this kind of collector box. This is a very nice figurine, which is mostly looking so nice due to the art direction. I think the material is kind of okay, but you can tell it is basically just standard plastic. There's nothing special about it, and also, let's say, the paint job and the details, they are okay, but this is nothing extraordinary. We could later on also look for something very high value. I have here a very expensive transformer. This is done mostly by the so-called dice plastic, so everything is filled out. It has also some additional metal parts, so this is a very expensive figurine with a much higher value when it comes to the material. Not actually what we need. I think this kind of figurine is doing just fine. I absolutely love this figure, and I don't mind that it is done just in plastic. It looks great. What we also can do, just give me a second. Is a very standard figurine, an action figure, which would also be a nice collector's item. In this case, we would also have a new box. We have some kind of plastic inlay that has to be produced. And as you can see here, we have a figurine with action figure with swap out parts. So that would also be nice. When it comes to the games themselves and the kind of figure that we need there, there's also some kind of differences. This depends a bit on what project we're actually looking for. For example, I think this would be a good fit for our game Sea Fight. We have just an action figure or a statue pose, something like this. But we could also take a look at, let's say, Farmerama, which is more of a cartoony style. And in this case, we could also use something that is way smaller, like these guys, as you can see. And we could also do something like a Funko, which are these kind of guys. So they are very, very simple. They are made from a very basic plastic, but they have, let's say, this kind of squashed dimensions, which makes them look very cute. So, yeah, as I said, we could also do something like this. Yeah, I hope this was some help of you. As I said, I will outline everything in the description as well. And everything can be discussed, especially when it comes to the sizes. Because, as I said, this is quite an unusual figurine due to the massive base. Usually, from what I've seen, the collector's edition bases are much smaller. And the figurine mostly stand by themselves. So, yeah. I would like to see your responses, and I wish you a very nice day. Goodbye.